Scrum Masters Elite _UK, Sports and Leadership Perspective. Subscribe to the channel. The emotional Packer and Saracens Championship story.
The final of the Premiership Women's Rugby final, in which Marlie Packer and Saracens defeated Trailfinders Women, was not simply a sporting match ending with a 52-14 scoreline. Looking deeper, it is a very clear snapshot of a career, of loyalty, of emotional farewells, and of the professionalism of elite sport, placed in the context of a 36-year-old athlete preparing to leave a team she had been with for nearly a decade. The story becomes a crossroads between past, present, and future. The first thing that stands out is the contrast between personal emotion and collective goals. In sport, especially at the professional level, people often talk about victory, tactics, discipline, and achievement, but behind all of that are human beings with very real emotions. For Packer, the week before the final was not only preparation for a major match, but also a process of confronting separation. She shared that only when people are about to leave do they truly feel how much they are loved, not only by teammates, but also by the support staff and the entire club structure behind the scenes. This is an important detail. The value of an individual within a collective often becomes clearest only when they're about to leave it.
From a psychological perspective, the feeling of belated recognition appears in many environments, not just sport. People tend to become accustomed to each other's presence, which means appreciation and gratitude are not always fully expressed during the time spent together. It is only when separation approaches that words become clearer. Packer's story is therefore universal. It reminds us that gratitude should not be delayed. However, what is even more notable is how she still maintained absolute focus on the match. Despite going through an emotionally intense week, Packer emphasized that everything was about winning. This is what separates personal emotion from professional resilience. In elite sport, emotions are not denied, but they must be placed in the right position. Victory is not achieved through inspiration alone, but through the ability to detach from unnecessary distractions at decisive moments. The moment captain Zoe Harrison allowed Packer to stand at the center while lifting the trophy also carries symbolic meaning. It is not only an act of honoring an individual, but also a way for a collective to recognize the long-term contribution of someone who had been part of their journey. In highly competitive environments where results often overshadow emotion, moments like this restore the balance between human value and performance value.
Looking deeper into Saracens' victory, one can see a consistent factor, a winning culture built over time. Packer mentioned that many players in the team had experienced various finals, from World Cups to cup competitions. This creates an ecosystem of experience where pressure is no longer unfamiliar. When a group is used to big matches, they are no longer overwhelmed by the occasion, but instead transform it into a task to be completed. This is a crucial difference between a strong team and a champion team. Another point worth reflecting on is how Packer viewed her final match not as a farewell but as a mission. This mindset reflects professionalism at the highest level. Emotions may exist, but the task must still be executed. In many cases, it is precisely this discipline that allows emotions to be fully released after the match ends. From this story, several clear personal lessons can be drawn. First, a person's value in a collective is not only defined by what they do, but also by the long-term impact they create. Packer's 9-year presence shows that consistency and sustained contribution can matter more than short bursts of brilliance. Second, maintaining focus during emotionally intense periods is an important skill, not only in sport but also in work and life. We do not always have the ability to fully separate emotion from task, but learning to do so when necessary determines the quality of outcomes.
Third, this story reminds us that farewells do not necessarily have to be negative. They can be a natural transition in a journey. Packer leaving Saracens was not a defeat, but the exit of a champion. This creates a positive model. Ending a chapter is not a loss, but a completion. For fans, the lesson lies in seeing athletes as whole human beings. They are not just point scorers or trophy winners, but individuals with emotions, journeys, sacrifices, and deep relationships. Understanding this helps create a more balanced perspective and reduces the tendency to judge solely by results.
For the wider community, especially in workplaces and education, the Saracens story highlights the importance of team culture. A strong organization is not built only on strategy or individual talent, but on creating a sense of belonging where everyone feels valued. In such environments, even farewells can become part of connection rather than breakdown, Ultimately, this final was not just a sporting victory. It was evidence of the intersection between emotion and discipline, between individual and collective, between endings and beginnings. The image of Packer in the final moment lifting the trophy with her teammates does not only close a chapter, but also opens a different perspective on the meaning of commitment. It is not about how long you stay, but how fully you live the time you have.
Scrum Masters Elite_UK says goodbye to the Packer and Saracens story, closing a journey. Opening lessons about discipline and emotion. See you again.